Oh, this is Linda of Crisis King Forever. So today I wanted to talk about some things that I had on my spirit, and I pray, Yeshua, that you help me with this message because I'm forgetting all of a sudden. Um, I want to talk about the geomagnetic field. Basically, I've had a few confirmations of that video I wanted to make. I don't know how long video is going to be because it seems like it's going to spill into other things. But I'm going to put some videos down below of these folks who very quickly, within like, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes, they every day will give you a forecast of what the Schumann resonance website says, things about solar flares, the pressures upon the earth as it sits in the atmosphere out in the universe, and basically this is called solar weather. I'm I watch them daily because I watch the solar weather daily, like people watch the forecast, will it rain, da da da, because they're finding that, especially with the solar flares, when they're pointed at us, depending on how they hit us, how big the solar flares are, how often they hit. Shortly thereafter, within so many hours, there's earthquakes and volcanoes, and there's an increase in these things as of late. But there's also with the pressure, it's almost like a pressure cooker. You know, there's a pressure that's being pulled and pushed upon our Earth because of the solar magnetic energy out in the universe, plasma, blah blah, and it's creating literally physical side effects. We're suffering. Some of us get headaches more often. Some of blood our blood pressure will go higher, and so it literally can manifest into real physical tension. And so as you watch these pressures spike, and they actually show you on graphs how they're spiking right now, and then they'll say, okay, we're going through a geomagnetic, storm. So for the next so many hours or days, watch out for this, and this, and they'll show you. I've been reading some NASA articles too, talking about this. This has been my fascination for a bit. I was reading three different books, and now I'm halfway through reading those three different books, and I'm now into the geomagnetic stuff, especially with the Israel stuff going on. But this what happens is, I believe it starts to affect us, in my humble opinion, psychologically, right? So as we're literally being crushed, this is when that Christian message comes in. What comes out? Remember when he hardened Pharaoh's heart? What came out of Pharaoh? More hardness. Are you going to soften up? Are you going to, as oil, if God crushed you with would holy oil come out of you? Would you cleave to him more? Would you say, hey, I'm empty, how do I fill back up? Because I feel a crushing happening. Because the pressures of your life and your family doesn't change, but literally the pressure of the literal world in the universe will actually fluctuate. So it's not just things that are happening in your own life that's completely sometimes out of your control, but literally things that are happening in the universe. Now, this reminds me of is like when you go into the ocean, and the recent submarine being crushed under water actually reminded me of this. It's so weird because I'll hear different things like that, and I'll think geomagnetic and field, or I'll think, solar winds. I'll think of solar forecasts. So somebody's listening to a news article about, or listening to a news about a submarine being crushed in the water, and I pray for the families of those people. I think there's 50 something people who died because they reached a point when they got to a specific depth that it crushed the submarine, and it's very sad. But that's what I'm starting to feel like the world is going through. It's going through a type of pressure, and it also reminds me of, like, in the ocean itself. Maybe that's kind of like our universe, and I don't know. I've tried looking up articles on it. I don't see anything saying this is the case, but just like when you go into the ocean, and depending how where you sit in the ocean, there's different types of pressures, different types of currents that create a tension. Um, Maybe there's a type of, I don't know, dark matter, dark energy that's really dense in certain places in the universe, or where a lot of plasma sits, or the wind is quite violent, the solar winds, I should say, is quite violent. It makes me think about it, like why is it like right now we are going through this, and why are these spikes not seen since the early 1900s, and why does the spikes seem to be happening in cycles? It's just interesting. I don't know the answers. I just ask a lot of questions. But that leads me to what I've been doing of late. So I was watching Todd Friel and Pastor Todd Friel, and about how he was saying, basically the biblically where women should sit in the church. And I think most women listen to that stuff and maybe they get discouraged, but it's just further confirmation for me that I can just keep doing what I do anyway. And that means like the pressure upon women, I don't think is as great as it is for men who are in the church who may be being called to be pastors. That's just in my I'm going to say this, and it's my humble opinion, but it is biblical that women are not to be pastors. Now, doesn't mean I haven't seen and appreciated and enjoyed listening to women pastors or women who are labeled as pastors. I have in the past, and no shade. It's if I'm not trying to remove anybody's crown here, but I am saying that it relieves for me. It gives me relief that what I say about God is taken with, I guess, more of a grain of salt, because I don't have the authority that a man would have. So I kind of appreciate that, because it puts me in a different league where God will, I think, judge me, hopefully, differently than he'd judge a man who's being called to be a pastor. I don't know what's going on out there. There's a lot of ambulance. Oh my gosh. But anyway, hopefully my mic works. My mic has been very touchy lately. I actually had to have a new mic just to teach. But we're reading this right now. Spartan Up. It's probably backwards. Yep, sure is. Yeah. But anyhow, it's called Spartan Up. And when I say we, I mean my husband, I'm going through and just reading a bit of the chapters, getting the information I want. It's mostly about running marathons. I have not really been serious into running since I was a teenager. Uh, so here are some things. It says change your diet, change your life. Berries are something that this person, oh, I should probably show the whole here. Joe. It says that you should get berries when you go to the grocery store, so I have to make lists. And if I'm not careful to really think about what I'm buying, I'll just buy random stuff. And cereal's usually one of the things at the top of the list because I like cereal. And this is where I'm going with this. I know it went geomagnetic field and now it's going over here, but berries, apples, vegetables. Oh, it says women may be able to cut breast cancer risk by 50 to 20% by eating kale, spinach, tomatoes, carrots, bell peppers, so on. And broccoli is loaded with all kinds of vitamins and compounds and essential minerals. So almonds, avocado, eggs, quinoa, and garlic. Now, this is interesting because garlic, for some folks, they'll actually eat it raw. They'll actually like take a bite and then eat their food, take a bite and eat their food. They kind of eat it like a side thing, like almost to add spice to their food or something. And they say if you sweat garlic, it's really healthy for you. I was told that by a grandparent as well, actually. That was wild sounding. What the heck is going on? Um, so anyhow, oh yes, that's what I was talking about. If when you buy fruits and vegetables, keep the seeds. And I have a porch, and this spring I was able to successfully grow tomatoes. And so I don't know how you would keep tomato seeds unless you keep them on the counter somewhere and let them kind of dry a bit before you store them. And this leads me to this here. Leads me to this here. So here I've been ordering food, which I found was significantly cheaper. It cut down our cost of things that we were buying, or I mean the way we were buying and how much it was costing us with this misfits. So so my order's been shipped. I got uh so these organic mangoes that are about this big, I got two of those because I have a few mangoes and the different types of mangoes in the order. I got a mini seedless watermelon, one of those, three lemons, three pears, and their specific type of, this is all organic stuff. Uh, 1 pint of cherry tomatoes, organic blueberries, 6 ounce, two of those, and two cherry tomato packages. Oh, I guess I got six organic and six lemons. Oh, wow, I'm not reading my order correctly. But anyway, and I got 2 orders of 6 ounce of blackberries. I got this three Special K chocolate and almond cereal. Ooh, and that's my favorite. Wow, even on Misfits, I can't avoid cereal. Organic, organic oranges. I got about three of those. So that was $30, and I think that's like, I don't know where you can buy organic food other than this, and I'm not getting sponsored by them or anything. I just really appreciate it. So when I got my last time, I got butternut squash. I was able to save the seeds, and I just store them in regular after they dry. I store them in regular like Ziploc baggies. I mark on the baggie. Sometimes I put several different types of seeds in one baggie. I know that's probably not the coolest. Until I find a better way to store them, that's how I'm storing them until I have like more of an organized way of doing that. And I'm going to try my hand like I have with the tomatoes, because I'm not a green thumb on growing these things on my porch. And now we're also going to be hanging our clothes on the porch over the summertime to not use our dryer. I probably even have to put like a message on the dryer to stop people from like using the dryer, because that's where we're at in my life. Whew. Anyhow, what does it have to do with what is it? So I also watch the Earth Master. So here you can see here. So there's a 4.1 earthquake. I like seeing kind of the cause and effect of, like, there's a solar flare, or there's an up in the Schumann resonance, and then you can see the aftermath of that kind of hitting within the next 48 to 72 hours. Okay, so my point is, since I've been really trying harder to make healthy food more affordable and accessible to my household. We do have it in my house more often. I think we feel better physically. I'm seeing that we feel better. We are getting out of the house more because it is getting warmer, and actually for us cooler. Cooler works for us more than warmer because it gets hot a lot here. And when these tensions, it's about the harvest. Yes, that's what it is. That's what I'm gonna call this. This is about the harvest. That's what it was. I'm talking about all these different random things, but the harvest has always been plentiful, but now it's easy. The harvest has always been plentiful, but because of the geomagnetic field, it's always been easy. It's always been plentiful, but now it's easy because people are freaking out. We have the pandemic, we have the war stuff in the east. I pray for Israel, and I think Israel's doing, in my humble opinion, a very good job trying to keep the death count low. They're destroying the tunnels. To me it honors God, if I can be frank here, because you can tell they're making a conscious decision to be careful. I don't think Palestine was being uh, as graceful, and they're a terrorist group, and Israel is not a terrorist group. So I think they're doing right. And why our country hasn't stepped up and made it clear to any other country around Israel, you better step down, because if you step up, then we're going to have to step further into the game. Why our country hasn't warned other countries they got to step back and let them deal with this their own way, Israel to do what it needs to do, which is to protect itself. I don't know why we're not stepping in and doing that. But anyway, this is my opinion about that. But the harvest is ready, and there's now people are freaking out. And now you know why they're freaking out. Now we all know why they're freaking out, because outside of the spiritual tension, which has always been there, now it's a physical erosion. It's like, you've always had your health, but when you don't have your health anymore, all of a sudden other things get more, the volume on other things go up. Like when you don't have your health, all of a sudden your spirit might start saying, okay, well, what do you really have when you don't have your health? Okay, now you don't have money. Now what do you really have? And your spirit's asking, do you have Jesus? Well, if their spirit's not asking, we have the opportunity to ask, do you have Jesus? You see, your blood pressure's going up. Not me. I just get excited, but your blood pressure's going up. You're physically feeling like a pressing, because it's actually happening to our earth. You may not, especially with the oil stuff, you may not even have the whole oil in your tank. You may not have, all the things that you used to have before. But do you have Jesus? Because at the end of the day, that's what matters. But this is Linda of Christ is King Forever. That was the message. May God be with you. Ooh.